Welcome back to MLive's Dungeon of Doom podcast. I am Ben Raven. He is Kory Woods.
What's good? What's good?
The Dungeon of Doom at MLive.com email address is good. Y'all, record setters.
I see. What was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7?
7 or 8 voice
Or
memo
8.
questions today. I lost track. We've got a ton of questions. We are doing our Mailbag podcast. Expect a lot of questions about Dan Campbell, the play caller. Expect a lot of questions about John Morton. We got a couple injury questions. And as I said, we don't listen to the voice memos before y'all send them.
Yeah, so hopefully they are rated G.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's Patrick's job.
Yeah.
Patrick's got that. And if anybody's a repeat, we'll just obviously figure it out. But we got a lot of written questions. And I'm just throwing this out here. You guys did a great job on the questions this week.
Oh, yeah.
There's a couple written questions we might not get to this week, but that could work next week too. So if we don't get to you, I will save those. We got to do the voice memos though. We've been begging you guys to get in line with the Dungeon of Doom at MLive.com email address for questions and voice memos. And you've done well. You've done really well.
I love to hear them, because it just goes to show that not only are people listening to you hammer at home, but it means that they're listening to the podcast and they want to let their voice be heard. And again, it's just always fun to be able to react to those in real time because you're getting our true, authentic thoughts on the fly.
No, we do not listen to them beforehand. I don't know. As I've said, it's like the old school radio guy in me. I like to be slapped across the face with a question. Maybe Patrick feels another way, but whatever. We're just going to get right into it. We're going to our Doomer of the Week. Eric Mawson.
Hi, Kory, Ben, and producer Patrick. This is Eric Mawson in Chicago, and my question is about the tush push. Instead of trying to ban the play, as many people have talked about, why not compromise and make it a reviewable play? They say it's hard to officiate, and they can't tell if someone moved too soon, especially the O-line firing out before the ball is snapped. I saw that happen Monday night when Philly was not flagged for what was clearly a guard firing out before the ball was snapped. If you allow a video review on a tough-to-call play, it would at least get the false starts flagged correctly. Thanks, and keep up the great work.
Dude, perfect question.
Yeah.
Great question. Just wrote about the tush push this morning at mlive.com/Lions and just how the Lions were one of 10 teams who voted to keep it in the game. Dan Campbell is doubling down on that support of the play. He's like, I'm a purist. You take one thing out, all of a sudden we're not going to have pads. All of a sudden we're going to be playing 30 minutes. He's like, I don't know. Don't touch the game. And, as I was doing the research today, there was a quote from Troy Vincent, the EVP of football operations for the NFL, was talking about how difficult it is to call on the fly. And there's been a lot of, I swear to God, it seems like once a week somebody's complaining about they jumped. That ball moved early. This guy went early. Man, I think Eric's got a great idea here. Keep it in the game, but why? The one flip side of that is, why can't we challenge other penalties? But I don't know, man. This is a specific thing. All right, let the officials, maybe don't let the teams throw a red flag on that. But New York, a lot of guys sitting in New York watching games closely, rules experts, all that. If you see someone jump, take it, call. It's like a scoring review.
Exactly. I think if you see guys jump, just go ahead and throw the flag for the false start.
Yeah.
I think that's just the best way to be able to. I don't think you should take it out the game because, like Dan said, they found a niche. Yeah. They found something that works for them, and it's a slippery slope when you start removing things from the game, especially things that are within the rules. But having said that, if you're seeing guys jump early, if you're seeing you're knowing they're running the tush push. I think it should be extra eyes just to make sure, hey,
Amen.
Nobody is snapping early, firing off early. And if they are, throw the flag, false start.
Because if you fire off early on that play and get away from it, or get away with it, that is an unfair advantage.
Yeah.
Especially on that type of play, that type of environment. And if you're telling officials to watch that play even closer, use that New York office. Use those guys that are reviewing every play. It is kind of like the college rule or the NFL rule, every scoring play is reviewable. Screw it. Make every tush push reviewable. Because I feel the same way that Dan does about it. I was kind of like, you know what? Screw it. They found something that works for them. Figure out a way to stop it. Now, if they're jumping early and they're getting away with stuff like that, then that is where I raise my eyebrow. So great question. I'm sure we'll have more on the tush push. They're converting on 14 out of 18 tush pushes this year, which is miraculously down from the last 3 years.
Crazy to even say that.
I know, 14 of 18, and they're like down 20% from where it was 2 years ago or 3 years ago per ESPN. Yeah, they were hitting that thing at like 94% in 2022.
I think it was one game they had like multiple on the same the same drive. I can't remember what game that was.
And yeah, well, I'm sure it'll come up again, but Dan just talked about it. He's like, the hardest thing about it is you can't really practice it. I'm not going to say offensive line, defensive line, go 100 miles an hour, 8 plays on the – no, that's how guys get hurt. That's a high impact, short impact, but high impact, just physical brand play. Yeah, we'll see. They only ran it once against the Packers last week, back at their own 18-yard line on 3rd and 1, and it worked. It's just a funny contrasting matchup. The Packers were the team that were crying the loudest about it, and the Lions were one of the team that were like, bring it on. We'll stop it. We'll figure it out. Screw it.
I can't remember. One of my friends said something pretty hilarious. He said Dan would cut off his arm before he makes football less physical.
And every way he got asked about the question was just like, no, man, leave it in. I don't care. Just like, I believe in my guys. We got leverage, defensive linemen, and I respect it. That's one of my favorite things about Dan Campbell. He's like, you know what? I ain't gonna cry about this. I'm gonna try and find a way to stop it.
And hey,
LaFleur,
just don't get him the first and short, second and short, third. Don't let them get in that position where they got to run it.
Exactly. We're gonna go to another voice memo question because y'all are awesome. Once again, dungeonofdoom at MLive.com. Just record it any way that's easy for you. Patrick will take care of you. We'll take care of you. We're going to Dolly. He was up there with Eric for Doomer of the Week this week. So you get another voice memo in next week, Dolly. You tell me where you're from, height, weight. I'll give you the full wrestling announcer, a good nickname from Parts Unknown or Truth and Consequences. Oh my God, I could not say that. All right, we're going to Dolly. I'll shut up.
Hey there, Dungeon of Doom podcast. This is Dolly and Ray, and we were talking about the play calling, how much of the mojo being back is because the play calling is coming from the field as opposed to up in the booth. Thanks.
Oh, lead us. I thought the best question we answered last week was about the booth to the field stuff. So go ahead.
I think as much as people want to say, hey, I've actually had conversations with people who say, like, hey, I mean, I don't think it has that big of an effect because, David Shaw, he's an extension of John Morton, who's up in the booth. But I just personally feel, this is just me. I can't say it. I personally feel having your play caller down there on the field, you don't lose that. There's no mistake about what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting that real-time correction.
Yep.
I just think that there is something to it. And whether you believe me or not, the players said after the game, everything felt a lot smoother.
Rhythm,
the
smooth.
flow. Those were all the same thing. So there has to be something to it.
I agree. And when John Morton first said, go back in training camp, he was going to call plays from the booth, I'm comfortable there. I was like, you know what? I get it. You can see the field. You're focusing on being a play caller. But as we talked about last week, there was a disconnect. We're hearing about communication issues. We're hearing about, dang, we can't get in a rhythm. Dang, where's our flow? Dan Campbell's down there on the field in the mix. There is just something to be said about it. When you hear we're struggling to get in a rhythm, there's communication issues, and when the running game and some of the third down stuff just felt so weird to answer because you're like, they're better than this. What is going on right now? I do think you can look to stuff like that because Dan Campbell is, we talk about that finger on the pulse. That starts on the sideline too when he's feeling the play. Like, that's how you get sequential play calling. It's feel, it's rhythm, it's thinking 2 or 3 steps down the line. And I do think there is something to be said about him being on the sideline. It's not for everybody, but it clearly wasn't working.
Yeah, and I think nothing is wrong with having somebody up there to have that higher vantage point, who can see things differently. But, I mean, you saw it with Dan. You saw it the past couple of years with Ben.
Yep.
It's just something about being on that sideline, being in the mix with your players, being able to do corrections in real time, point out stuff in real time. I just think that is how this offense works. Maybe for other teams it might work different. Yeah, for this offense, it just works better with the play caller on the sideline. And if if we have duplicate results, because no disrespect to the Commanders, they had some issues going on, but if we see duplicate results in Philadelphia, I mean, that just adds more into that. The guy needs to be on the sidelines.
And I just think with all the changes that were already happening here, new staff, new coordinators, tweaks to the playbook, new interior offensive line, having the coordinator up in the booth on game day was another change for Goff. It was another change for the assistant coaches. It was another change for Dan Campbell to go through. And I just think it was a bridge too far. It was a bridge too far.
That's a lot of changes in one offseason to deal with, especially with the coaching turnover. Now that's just too much. Some things to me just need to kind of like stay the same.
I think there's something to be said about this coaching staff and how Dan acts as a leader and the CEO, whatever you want to call him, that if he wants to grab you on the sideline and say something to you, that makes it a lot easier than going through a muffled sound system.
Correction. Again, real-time correction.
Yeah, exactly. Good, great question. I think Dolly said there was a Ray on there, so let me know what's going on there, and I'll get you all fixed for next time. Ryan, I can't see your last name here, but we're going with Ryan on our next voice memo. Starts with a P. Hopefully you say your name.
Yo, Ben and Kory. Quick little Tyleek Williams question for you guys. He's been playing a lot less since Aleem came back, and that makes a lot of sense to me. You want to get Aleem on the field as much as possible, and I totally understand that. And obviously DJ Reader is still a stud in his own regards. But there are a few stats out there that are showing that the defensive line has taken a bit of a step back without Tyleek on the field. And I don't know if you have any insights into why that might be happening. If you want to, Football Guy Al on Twitter or X or whatever you call it nowadays, posted some of the run defense rates with and without Tyleek on the field. And I'd be really interested in your thoughts on that. So thank you guys for having me on, and hoping for a cool answer on this.
Another just perfectly timed question. I wrote about Tyleek yesterday. Shout out Big Al. Big Al. I'm just going to call him Big Al now because I actually got those stats into my story after Dan talked about Tyleek. And we literally just finished talking to Calvin Shepard the other day. I'll just give it to you real quick. They want to get Tyleek on the field more. Yeah. They do. They see those stats too. I think especially for this game, I don't know. I
running back.
I think and the tush push and the Hurts, because I think you're going to see some interesting interior defensive line rotations. I think you will see a little more Tyleek this weekend. But going back to those stats from Al on Twitter, Pride of Detroit's Al, all around cool dude, Al Karsten. Let's see. With Williams on the field, the Lions are the best run defense in the league, allowing only 3.4 yards per rush with a 32.7% run stuff rate, which was also tops in the league across 105 rushes. Without the first-round rookie on the field, the defense ranks 23rd with 4.7 yards per rush allowed and 32nd with an 8.9% run stuff rate. I think it just goes to say that Tyleek Williams was doing things that don't show up in the box score. And his playing time, I believe, he was playing 21-plus snaps, I think, in every game up until the last two. He's only played 19 combined snaps over the last two games. Wow. One factor in that, obviously, Aleem McNeil coming back. Another factor in that is that Roy Lopez, he's still only playing like 10 or 15 snaps a game, but he's kind of balling out right now. Like, dude, I mean, he played 12 snaps last week. And I think he was second on the team in pressures. The PFF has this run stop, which a tackle that constitutes as a failure for the offense. I think he has 5 of those across only like 25 snaps in the last 2 games. They love Lopez as a nose tackle. Shepard talked deeply about him too. I mean, he is kind of the reason why Tyleek's playing time has gone down, but those stats are kind of crazy.
It is. I will say that is a good problem to have.
It's a great problem to have. It's a great.
You have so many playmakers that you're trying to figure out, okay, who do I put in right now?
Yeah.
So I would just say that this is a great thing for Shepard to have to figure out. I don't even have to add too much onto that one.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Mekhi Wingo situation too. Like he played one game this year, but he played it was 30 plus defensive snaps in that one game he's played. And it's just kind of how they're configuring the defensive line right now. I think there's room for Tyleek to play more. I think keep Roy Lopez in a 10 to 15 snap. He's clearly working well with that. But Tyler Lacey's kind of development and growth has kind of added another element to the mix because he can do a lot of things. He's also playing that big defensive end role that would have been earmarked for Levi. Yeah. I mean, he played 36 snaps against Washington last week. Yeah, last week it was McNeil with 47, Lacey 36, Reeder 26, Lopez 12, and Tyleek Williams with only 8. This is like the perfect type of matchup to get Tyleek Williams some more run. And Campbell, I believe it was on my old buddy Jim Costa's show earlier this week, Campbell told 97.1 The Ticket, Tyleek's just a young guy continuing to get better and growing. There's just a little inconsistency at times, but that's not out of the norm. He just needs to correct it, get a little better, and move on. Essentially challenged him. All he needs to do is elevate his game, and then he'll be in front of them. So the stats speak for themselves. Shep, more or less, right? Like, do you remember exactly what Shep said? It was kind of like, yeah, we need to get Tyleek some more playing time. Like, I'm not going to sit here with a pen and paper making sure to get him to 15 or 20, but, like, that guy needs more playing time.
Yeah, I think he does. I mean, he's been balling as of late, throughout the season. And, who knows what's going to happen in the offseason with DJ Reeder.
Right.
But, I mean, this is a guy that you want to go ahead and get him playing some meaningful snaps, and this would be the perfect game to do it. I mean, against the defending Super Bowl champion, somebody that you possibly could end up seeing later on down the line in the playoffs. So get him out there. Let's see what he does. Let's see how he handles that hostile environment. Let's see how he handles that stout offensive front and, Jalen Hurts and Saquon. I mean, this guy who also said that, his pass rush is underrated too. So let's just get him out there and see what he can do.
And I'll say this, if the Eagles line out for a tush push, 4th and goal, 1 yard line, I want to see the Lions get weird with it. I want to see Reeder, Williams, and Lopez on each other's hips, pinching on that center, and then Hutch and Mack on the outsides, pinching down too.
I have a weird feeling about the tush push this week. I have a feeling that Dan is so coy about it, so purist about it, because he has something up his sleeve. I think they really do. I could be wrong here, people.
And I just talked about the big guys, but like where my mind goes is the 2 heat-seeking missiles called Brian Branch and Jack Campbell, who will literally drive their head through a wall to make a play. That's a secret weapon right there. You get those big dogs pinching down and say, Jack, go nuts. Brian, let it loose. Let those intrusive thoughts win.
On that play
only. Yes. Oh, good stuff. We're going right into Will Brown's voice memo. I think Will's a newbie here, so welcome, Will.
Hey guys, Will from Tucson, Arizona here. Raised by my dad, a giant Lions fan from Alpena, Michigan, so that's how I became a Lions fan.
Alpena to Tucson.
Question about the remaining games on our schedule. The way that I see it, it really breaks down into 3 categories. The first are winnable home games where we just have to take care of business. So that would be the Giants, the Cowboys, and the Steelers. Next up are division games. So we've got Packers, at Vikings, at Bears. I think we probably have to go 2-1 in those games based on how we've done in the division. And then that leaves a third category, which are our tough away games at the Eagles and at the Rams. I feel like if we go 1-1 on those 2, we should feel pretty confident heading into the playoffs. That would leave us at 6-2 for those remaining games for a total record of 12-5. Am I crazy for breaking down the schedule this way? And I'd love to hear your predictions on how we, do in those games. Not game by game, but just kind of, total by total through the 3 categories. Thanks. Keep up the good work.
No, I think you're completely sane to look at it like that, because the Eagles and the Rams are both road games. And then the Packers on Thanksgiving. And then who knows what the hell the Bears are going to be in week 18. So I don't know. What do you think about that?
The way he broke it down not only makes sense, but if the Lions manage to go 12-5,
oh wow,
given everything that they've had to face as far as the offseason overhaul, the in-season changes, I'm gonna leap off the. Sorry, Patrick. Here's another headline. I'm leaping off the deep end. There is no way that Dan Campbell could not be a Coach of the Year front runner.
I agree.
But just to stay with the question though, that is a sensible way to look at it. I mean, you definitely want to split at least two of those games. You want to split because Eagles and Rams, those are the class of the NFC.
Yeah.
So you need to be able to showcase this on yourself and be able to look in the mirror and be like, hey, we can beat these teams.
Yeah.
And the other games, I mean, those are definitely some winnable games, and you definitely need to go ahead and I think they honestly need to win out the rest of their division games and not leave anything to chance. But they finished 6-2 for the rest of the season. That's like
it's huge.
That's perfect.
Yeah, it is. And I just want to mention the Coach of the Year stuff. Charles Bryan, I saw your question. I actually used it for the Weekly Roar newsletter question of the week. I'll just say this about Coach of the Year stuff. Shane Steichen's going to be pretty tough to unseat, no matter what Dan does. But if Dan takes over play calling, as he has, and the Lions go, as you and Will said, go 6-2 down the stretch, he got to be right there.
Yeah.
He's got to be right there.
Can they do a call with that award?
Yeah. Hey, this would be a good year to do it if things start keep trending the way they are.
You would have to. Shane is going to be hard to.
It's hard to beat.
Yeah. But if things trend the way with Dan they are, you would have to probably look at Coast.
Him taking over more. It's kind of, I look at that as the same way people looked at Darnold with O'Connell. It's like the boosting to his nominee. If Campbell does that, but I fully agree. I'm looking at the Eagles, Rams. Yeah, the Eagles, Rams, and Packers games are the one big time circled for me.
Yeah.
If you want to win the division, if you want to get a home game or two in the playoffs, you got to go 2-1 in those games. You've got to go 2-1 in those games. We cannot even talk about a loss to the Giants, to the Steelers, or the Cowboys. You've got to take care of business there, and then you can set yourself up very well at Vikings, at Bears to end the frickin' regular season on the road in the black and blue division. I look at that Vikings. I mean, I have now got the Vikings game on Christmas circled big time for the butt whooping they put on them a couple weeks ago, because that is going to be a huge test.
And all of the horses should be back by then.
Yes, horses should be back.
Hopefully nothing else happens, but all the horses should be back by then.
As Kelvin Shepard said.
The phone with the rabbit.
I wrote it down. It's about to be fun when the rabbit gets the gun back. But yeah, it's that Vikings game just to show how Dan handles their blitzes, how Dan prepares for the interior pressure, how Dan makes sure that it's not Jahmyr Gibbs against the world to save the day in pass protection. But yeah, good question, Will. Kind of a broad question, but I enjoy it. But yeah, it's man, if they win this game at the Eagles this weekend, that's just a huge primetime statement win and another moment for Dan Campbell.
Yeah, because I mean, if they win that game, at worst, depending on what the Seahawks do, they'll be 1 or 2 in the conference right now.
I mean, they'll be the NFC's a logjam mess right now. So
a lot going on.
Whew, that's why I'm saying if they finish 12-5. I know they went 15-2 last year, but that should be celebrated.
And that's what I'm saying. You can't expect to win 15 games every year, but if you go 12 wins, 15 wins, 12 wins again, what?
That's consistency that's never been seen here.
Never.
We're going into another question. Raymond Nuznoff, a former Doomer of the Week. Let's see what Raymond's got to say. He already got this one in at the buzzer.
Hello, Ben and Kory. This is Raymond Nuznoff. I got a kick out of your post-game podcast where I was left hanging about the story of being booted from the press box before the podcast. So I decided it needed to become the next ESPN 30 for 30. In a world where 2 podcasters just wanted to record another episode, they came to Washington to cover the story, but instead became the story. 30 for 30, Inside the Den, until they weren't. Coming soon to ESPN. Because sometimes the wildest plays aren't on the field. But as for my mailbag question, What are the drawbacks to Dan Campbell calling the plays? And is that part of why he has been hesitant to call them in the past?
Bro.
That's amazing.
This is why you were the OG Doomer of the week, Raymond. That was fantastic.
That was amazing.
I'll just say real quick on the press box thing, 11 p.m. for a game that starts at 4:30 is crazy aggressive. I'll just say this about the Lions beat. The Commanders beat had been gone since like after locker rooms and press conference. We hold things down. I mean, I was kind of planning on being there till like 1 a.m.
Yeah, I thought we were going to be there. At earliest, I was expecting to leave at midnight at earliest.
I get a little sassy when stuff like that happens. I can't help it. I'm a sassy little boy sometimes.
And also, too, it's just probably just off of the fact that we're kind of like spoiled, I guess you say.
We are spoiled.
In Ford Field, where they just like, whatever.
Bro, they set out post-game food for us like 6 hours after the game ends because they know we're working. Yeah. I don't know. I just kept saying snide things like, "Oh, I'm back in the Mid-American Conference." But that's the sassy Ben. Just hit up Kory, Nolan, or Colton, or Rich, or Justin for any sassy Ben stories on the road when things don't go his way in the press box. But not to mention the leaky ceiling. Awesome.
Oh, that was
bro.
That was weird.
They can't knock that place down soon enough. But the question, great, Raymond, you're killing me. That was fantastic. The drawback about Dan calling plays is obviously he's got to delegate. He's got to trust his offensive coaches. He said it earlier. Kelvin Shepard, it was already your defense, but now it's your defense. I'm over here doing this. I'm trusting you to do this. Fully trust him to do that, Dan said. But yeah, it is the delegation. I mean, that's taking over calling the offense, especially for this offense. That's time consuming.
And I don't even think Dan wants to do it, really, because I think Dan really does get a kick out of building that coaching tree, showcasing that, hey, if you come here to be a coach on my staff, I'm empowering you to get the job done. I really think because when you were talking about when Deuce Staley was here, even when Ben was here, AG, he talked so much about wanting those guys to get a chance to be able to be a head coach of a team. So I really do think that Dan, he doesn't really want to do it because he wants his guys to get the shine. But at the same time, if it's not going the way that things need to go, you wrote an article about it. Yeah. He has his finger on the pulse and will not hesitate to make the tough decision.
I agree with 95% of what you said. I think he freaking loves calling plays. I think he loves it. I think he loves the chess match. I think he loves people thinking he's a meathead motivator. And I think he freaking loves showing that, man, I'm a Sean Payton disciple. I think he freaking loves it. I really do.
That's the one thing that kind of like throws me off with the whole meathead perception that some people try to give him. Like, he learns from Sean Payton
and Bill Parcells,
and it shows up in the way that he coaches.
Yes, it does. This guy, he's an offensive coach. Yeah. He is an offensive coach. He takes a lot of pride in that offense. That is his baby. When that baby was struggling to get out of the crib, he said, "I got you. Papa's got you." And I'm saying Papa way too much recently. But I agree with everything you said, other than the fact I think that man loves calling plays. I think he saw a cracked door and said, "You know what? This is my ship. This is my ship. I know where it wants to go. I know how it needs to get there. I know what waves it needs to go through." I really think he freaking loves the chess matches, especially against Vic Fangio and the freaking Eagles.
He's the captain of the ship, and like I said, after that Commanders game, the passengers, aka his players, they were happy.
Yeah, they were. Smooth ride. Everybody got their meals on time. All right, we got 2 more voice memos. Man, you guys were awesome this week. Yeah, we got Kurt here. What's Kurt got to say?
Hey guys, this is Kurt from Grand Rapids, Michigan. Ben, I just wanted to give you a shout out. I remember listening to you with our friends over here on 96.1, and so listening to your podcast is awesome because it brings me back to those days, and that was an awesome show. wanted to really quick ask maybe a different question. I know you guys are probably getting a lot about the game this week and the game coming up, but I wanted to look into the future a little bit. I remember when the Saints were in the middle to later parts of Drew Brees' career, it seemed like every year they kept re-signing all of their guys, and every year I would look at their salary cap and go, well, next year that's got to be it. They're going to be over the cap by this much, right? They're in super trouble. There's no way they can keep this going. And every year they would continue to re-sign players and kind of push that down the road for as long as they possibly could, knowing that at some point the piper had to get paid. And when it finally all did end, they had 2 or 3 years where they were in salary cap hell and they couldn't really keep things going forever. Do you think the Lions will do something similar and continue to sign all of their guys, push the can down the road, maybe maximizing the window to like a 2030, 2031, knowing that maybe in 2032, 2033, you're going to have a rough couple years, but say, hey, let's try to maximize as many opportunities at the Super Bowl window as possible, even if it means there's going to be a couple rough years down the road. Just curious what your thoughts are, guys. Thanks again for the great show. Love listening to you guys every week, and can't wait to hear your response.
Hey, thanks, Kurt. Loyal, man. ESPN 96 one days. That goes back about 11 years for me. I do miss getting to do that. Obviously, I would get to see my brother from another mother, Drew, a lot more often. Yeah, it's crazy. Jim Costa running the morning show on 97.1, Big Drew doing his own thing, and me covering the Lions. Yeah, we were just an old Grand Rapids sports radio show back in the day. Just a couple of young boys. I will say this about the question on the cap stuff. I just pulled up like Aiden Hutchinson's recent extension. They're doing their best to soften the blow with these. There are 5 void years on that contract going through 2035, which just spreads it out as much as possible. They've done it similarly. They've done it similar with their recent extensions, and I think they'll continue to do that because not only is it about maximizing this current window, but I think it's them trying to soften the Saints level blow coming to them down the line. And that's why you don't see them make the big splash outside additions, because they're trying to prepare for this. And they know, Brad has said it a million times, that bill's coming. I might not go on vacation this year. I got to take care of the kids. And it's so real. So they're doing their best to kind of spread that stuff out, spread those option years out, just spread it out as much as possible to be as team friendly as humanly possible. So they're cognizant of that. Dan comes from that Saints tree. He wasn't involved in the cap, but he lived that. So I think that's there.
Yeah, he probably just gave, Brad some insight on just how bad it eventually got.
Yeah.
So, and Brad's a smart guy. He knows what he has to do with the cap, but I mean, I'm pretty sure him and Dan were probably lockstep in decision making on that one.
Yeah, and we haven't said Mike Disner's name on the podcast in a while, but the Lions really feel like they've got a salary cap guru in this building. And so far, it's been impressive work just on how they've spread some things around, just how they've kind of played around with the option stuff. They have a lot of faith in that this is the right way to go about it and that they won't hit the Saints level wall of what we've seen the last couple of years here. So, yeah, it's another one of those situations where trust in Brad and Disner and Rod Wood and Dan, because they're cognizant, man. They're cognizant of that. I mean, I just think back to the owners meeting stuff with Brad, and that's basically what we talked about for like 15 minutes was just like, that bill's coming. We're trying to be as smart as possible about it because we want those guys here.
And also, too, I understand the idea of it. How can I put this? I understand the idea of it from the front office standpoint of keeping us as competitive as possible, but I do understand the fan aspect of it, like, oh my God, we're never going to stay this good as long. Let's cash in right now or something. Yeah. So,
the way they're doing it now, this team on paper sitting right here has a chance to remain the same level of contender they are right now through like 2031, 32. Just sitting here right now without even considering draft picks or anything like that.
I mean, we're talking about what, if I'm not mistaken, by the end of the season, Dan might be the second winningest coach in the franchise history.
It's disgusting. I mean, it's awesome, but it's disgusting. We're running short on time. We got to talk to John Morton and what is sure to be a fascinating press conference in about 13 minutes. And we've got one more voice memo, and then I'm going to go through and shout out the text questions. I'm going to save those for the newsletter. I'm going to save those for next week's mailbag because a lot of those had some life to it. Yeah. And if it's one that we can't get to on the podcast today, I'll just hit you up wherever you sent it. Email, social. We'll get back to you because I Appreciate you guys so much with the mailbag questions on Blue Sky, Twitter, Kory's Facebook, Old Millennial Gang, and the Dungeon of Doom at MLive.com email. This was a record-breaking week. This has been a full voice memo mailbag podcast, bro.
This is wild.
Y'all are awesome. I love you guys. Dungeon of Doom at MLive.com. We'll get you featured on the show. You can send in a text question. You can record yourself and send it in. It's simple. We'll take it from there. But yeah, we're getting to one more here, and then I'll give some shout outs because I appreciate y'all. Andy, I think we got another new one here. What's Andy got to say?
Hey, Ben and Kory. This is Andy Intagliata from Brunswick, Ohio, just outside of Cleveland. With how much man coverage the Lions play, their safeties tend to get more interceptions than their cornerbacks. To that point, last year, only one corner had an interception, and Carlton Davis had both of those in one game. So far this year, 4 corners have had an interception. Do you think that's due to better corner play, worse opposing quarterback play, schematic changes on defense, or kind of a combination of all of the above? And then second quick question, the Lions broke their monochromatic tradition by wearing their gray pants with their road white jerseys. What are the odds you think that for their next home game they go with the blue jerseys, gray pants combination? All right, thanks.
Awesome. I'll say the first part on the interceptions, Kirby Joseph's been banged up this year. I think that plays into it a lot. Because, I mean, you even saw when he took the one from Terrion in Cincinnati. When Kirby's on the field, if there's a chance at a pick, he's going for it, and he's getting it most of the time too. But, yeah, I think all of the above, as you said on that one. And I can't wait to finish on the death of the monochromatic look.
Yeah, get it out of here.
The Silver Pants are so good.
They look so good. I'm now just waiting to see when they're going to go ahead and bring the Honolulu Blue and the Silver back into that game.
The home game, yeah.
Yeah, I think they got to bring that back for the Giants game.
I think so too. I think there's a good chance based on how they played. You know, because a group of captains votes on what pants they're going to wear. Whatever. They were rolling with the monochromatic look for a while. I think there was some superstition tied into that more than anything. But that was the first time we've seen the white and silver combo. Loved it. Thought it looked good. I'd love to see it again this weekend. Yeah. You guys, I ranted about this 2 weeks ago. I hate the monochromatic look. I really do. I'm fine with the blueberries because there's some life to it. Yeah. I hate those all whites. So you're wearing plain white pants? You come up with this best uniform design possibly in franchise history, and you're ruining it with plain white pants?
Yeah, the blueberries work because it pops.
It pops.
That's really.
It's not my favorite look.
Yeah, but it pops. But the all white is just. I mean, it's vanilla.
It's terrible. It's terrible. I'm like, this is such a good look, and they're killing it with these. So I was so happy. I think the Silver Pants are alive. Never been more alive. I think we're going to see more of them. Really hope to see those when they play the Giants. I'm also a purist about wearing the throwbacks on Thanksgiving. Yeah. It makes me mad when they don't wear the throwbacks on Thanksgiving. So that's another uniform gripe I have. But great Silver Pants, man. I hope they're here to stay. Because their blue on silver home look is the best look that they have. It brings me back to my childhood. It's just a good look. It's just a good look. I'm tired of the monochromatic. I think I would feel differently about the monochromatic if there was just a freaking stripe on either of the pants.
Yeah.
There's something about the plain pants that just makes me mad. I was telling Rich Silva this the other day, like, you know what makes me mad when I watch the All-22 film on the games? When they're wearing the frickin' all-white pants. I
will say a Honolulu blue stripe in those white pants would change.
I would change everything about it. Everything about it. That is all we got for you guys today. You know what? We're going to do this one real quick because this is timely. The others I think I can stretch out, like John Thompson, AA Football, Baked God Baker, New Millennium Cap, Charles Bryan, Keenan, Lori Beard, Ed Holinsky, B-Dog, Red Blue Ox, and Crad Chadrick. I'm going to save some of those for next week. You will be hearing from me on social media on some of those. We might get to Lori's question too, just because she sent it to the email. But we got one from Trent. Dan, I'm just going to call you Trent. He's from Belding, my crosstown rival. I'm a Greenville guy here. Both Kinlaw and Payne are claiming St. Brown threw the first punch. In this day and age, I find it hard to believe that every camera in the stadium would have missed such an action. Out of morbid curiosity, did either of you witness or see film of St. Brown throwing the first punch? Yeah, I saw film.
I saw film.
Yeah.
I saw film. It looked like it honestly looked like he threw 2, if I'm not mistaken.
The first one didn't really connect.
Yeah,
I think the first one was like a get off me swipe.
But that second one, that helmet moved.
Yo, because he's a big guy.
Yeah.
And he got like a full boxer, like, crack. I don't think he's at risk of a suspension, but I will put money on Corey Woods writing a fine post on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, I think he's probably too late for the suspension. But
yeah,
I think he's definitely getting his pockets tapped.
Yep. And Trent, also hard for me to ignore the parallels between what is happening with Taylor Decker and Frank Ragnow leading to his retirement. Not trying to push him off the line, but what do you think the odds are of the Lions need to find a new starting tackle for next year? Low, but you will see me talking about tackles in the first or second round for the future.
Yeah, that's all I was talking. Yeah, same thing. We not pushing Decker out the door.
Not at all.
I think you do need to start thinking long term, and with a lot of holes on this team already filled, you need to start drafting that depth for the future.
Yeah, and I think the difference between Frank and Decker, Frank's toe injury changed things. It was something that they had a hard time fixing. It was something they had to manage. I think Decker's shoulder is tough to manage right now because he's playing through it.
Yeah.
That is something I feel like get that fixed the second the season ends, let him heal up, and he'll be back. That's still a damn good left tackle. So low on next year, but he's getting older, and injuries are piling up. And he at this point, other than a Super Bowl, and he's a left tackle, but he's got nothing left to prove for this franchise.
Nah, I will say this,
That's a stud.
I do think if they run the table this year and win it, I wouldn't be shocked if he's like, you know what?
I agree with that. And I'm glad Lori Beard sent this to the Dungeon of Doom at email address, and you said you have an answer for us. Hi, could you guys please ask Brian Branch why he no longer has a green mouthpiece in his helmet? I noticed it disappeared after his suspension and baptism. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but would like to know if it has some meaning behind it or if he was just done with that. Thanks. Love the pod.
Simple answer. He lost it, and he's purchasing a new one, and it's coming back.
He lost it?
Yeah, that was it.
He just lost it?
Yeah.
And he's like, there's no green mouthpieces around?
He just said, I lost it.
You asked him about it?
I didn't know that. Yeah, he said I lost it. He said, yeah, I lost it. He'll be back. I'm going to grab another one.
I didn't know that. That is, all right, I'm so glad we got to those. I didn't know that. Corey, breaking news. Brian Branch loses green mouthpiece. Buying a new one. That's a perfect note. I gave the shout outs to all the questions we mixed. Gonna save some for next week. Gonna hit some of y'all up on social media, probably before or after my flight on Saturday. Appreciate you guys. Keep hammering that Dungeon of Doom at MLive.com email address. You can send text questions if you don't feel like doing voice memos, but just hit us up. Freaking appreciate you guys. Great showing this week. That's all we got for you. JK, prediction. You've got 5 seconds. Go.
Lions are going to pull this one out in a close one. I'm going to go, but I'm going to swap it from their last time they played. 38-35 Lions.
Dang, I'm going lower scoring. I'm going Eagles 20, Lions 17. I'm not down on this team. I've mentioned it for 2 years. These Eagles are built to give these Lions some trouble, mainly the interior defensive line, interior offensive line. And I know A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith haven't been lighting up. There's probably not going to be Terrion Arnold this weekend. DJ Reed's not back. Kirby Joseph still is not looking like he's going to be ready to play. So that is where my head is. I think it's going to be a great game. I'm not down on the Lions. I just got a lot of respect for the Eagles. They always seem to turn it around when people are out on them the most. But that's it. MLive's Dungeon Doom podcast. I'm Ben Raven. He's Corey Woods. We're going to go talk to John Morton, which is going to be interesting.